Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to make a little settlement by the sea at Spectacle Island. Let's get building. So welcome to Spectacle Island. You can see my friend's waving at me, so we'll just fix him. Thank you. And there's another one behind him. Yep. Gotta be safe before we get building. Safety first, guys. Safety first. Just pick up me some Mirelurk meat. So today we're going to use this space down on the beach here and do some building, and the influence for today's build is old, very old, back in many centuries ago, very old settlements that used to be built mostly in Scandinavia, I think, but certainly Europe, in the fjords and by the river. So we're going to try and replicate that today using cabin in the woods mostly. And this is a pretty straightforward build. So I was looking around, as I do quite often on the internet, for ideas, and I came across a photo that's very similar to what I'm about to build. Of course, coming across something and coming up with an idea is one thing. Actually, getting it to work and follow it can be a completely different story. And it did take a couple of goes, I'm not going to lie, to figure this out. So I'd advise you to do what I'm about to do here. Now I'll show you. See the window? They will snap in no problem. However, the doors are a different story. So this doesn't want to play ball. See? It will snap that way. It doesn't want to snap the way I want it to. Even do the spinny trick, not going to work. So in the end, take that off and just put it to the side, and watch this. Snap straight on. And put that wall on. And a lot of working with cabin woods in this build is very much similar to that, because you're going to come up against these kind of load or build order issues. So, and of course, when I built this the first time, I did not have a problem with these shack bridges, but for some reason, as soon as I hit the record button, it started having an issue. So it does take me a while just to get this shack bridge in place, and you may have a similar issue. Now, when I built the original, when I done my practice run, this was actually set much further back than it is now, so it may be that, it may be something else. But I think what the biggest problem is, you see how that's right in the middle of those two foundation shack floors, and I think it has nothing to clip onto. It's looking for something to clip onto, whereas I think when I built it previously, that structure might have been just slightly offset enough where it would clip into the door, but I think I get it close enough not to worry. So once you get the first one in, everything should then snap into place. So be warned as well, in this video, you're gonna, if you do decide to try and have a go at building this, you're going to fall off a lot. Help defend Grey Garden. Yeah, I haven't got time at the moment, and I'll get in trouble because I don't. Anyway, I haven't built anything there, so it's not a great drama. So just get this in place, and I'll hop up the top and straighten that bit. That just helps you to get down and start to build the overall structure. Now I'm only going to build 3 houses today, and my OCD is going to kick in because you can see how that is not straight in relation to the walkway. So I'm going to fix that in a second. Lucky for you though, I'm not going to show you. I'll just put this down here for now, because we're going to need that shortly. If it'll snap in, they should just snap straight to these. There we go. As I said, you're going to fall off a lot today, so I'm going to cut the part out where I spend about a couple of minutes just straightening that whole foundation up. One of the ways to do this is to actually make that platform first, so those shack bridges, and then build your foundation. Either or, doesn't really matter. So let's continue on with this build. So that's not quite right. You can see that that's slightly off. Push that across a little bit. I'm going to do this whole trick again, but that's alright, it's no problem. This isn't, like I said, this isn't an overcomplicated build, but it does end up looking exactly how I envisaged it, which is unusual. But once you figure out these things, you can, as I said, I build about three different structures here. You could build multiples if you like, multiples, no problem. Sometimes these, I don't know why, these are a little bit finicky sometimes. So see, today they're snapping on. Some of the other huts that I built, they didn't. So those little horizontal walls and then the vertical walls at the back. Now I put those, and you're going to have the same issue. I put those kind of half walls in just to center up both the door and the fireplace here. There we go, and all good. So if you're having an issue with trying to center a doorway, and you have those half piece walls, that's the way to do it. So we're going to put these rather fancy roofs on, and these can be a little bit tricky. What I found, and I don't do it in this one, but what I found is put one side on first and then try and put the other side on. But even that, you can see that I'm going to have a little bit of trouble just getting this to snap for whatever reason. There we go, but it snaps straight in there. Just a bit of patience will be required, and you are in a fairly tight space here, and I think that also it doesn't help. There's not anywhere that you can back off, so just take your time, ease these roofs in, and they will go in eventually. It just takes a little bit of time. It wants to snap to everything except the place you want it to snap to. There you go, see? And that will even tease you to say, I went in and I'm not going to stay there. So come on, hop in. Yeah, no. One of the ways you can do it is do what I just done there and just ease it down and drop it in. So the next challenge I had was that we have these triangle pieces, and I actually found in the second cabin that's offered in Cabin in the Woods, these wood pieces, these triangle pieces, which are good for the back wall where the fireplace is, but for the front of the cabin, and I'll show you in a second, they are no good, and you'll see why. When you click them on, you can't physically get in through the door. And I guess you could offset the door, but you're still going to have the problem. So this is where I use Atom's Greatness, and I found these triangular pieces in one of the churches. Either or of these will work. And we'll just put it down there, and we'll just glitch the first piece in, using that point of the triangle as your reference. Drop it in there, line it up. You want it to sit inside the wall, so it does take a little bit of time just to get it in, but once it's in, no problem. And you're not going to, it's actually level with the door, so you don't have the same issue. In the second one, we'll just clip straight in. There you go. So I find these capping pieces later that actually you don't even notice those, because one of the things that I did not like is the fact, you see those log cabin pieces are kind of hanging at the end there. But these capping pieces, you'll see in the final tour that they actually work very well just to hide that that overlap. So I'm not going to show you building me the other three structures. So I'm just getting this little walkway in place. So what I did want to show you was this, and you can see I've used those smaller shack bridges with the plywood on them here, and just as something as like a little walkway outside your house. And I'm just going to show you how you can potentially just switch it up and make your settlement look a little bit different, or each house just a little bit different, by putting a little area in just next to the doorway here, and just doing some decoration. So I'm just going to very simply put this little platform and do a little bit decoration, and then we'll give you the final tour, and we may even give you some music if you're lucky. So here we go guys, final tour, 3 little huts here. I've tried to make them a little bit different each one, and you'll see they do have different purposes. So you can see I've made a little bit of a wood area there, different supports. I've still got a little bit of decoration to do in here, but essentially this is just a little settler's home. You know, little bed and table and whatnot, so kept it very basic as I usually do. A little bit of a kitchen in there as well. I can't even get out the door. See, I'm so paranoid about falling off. Obviously the second hut you saw me decorate just a couple seconds ago, so you know I haven't decorated inside yet, but just a little area for him to do dry his fish and whatnot. And finally this hut at the end, and I'm going to show you the finished build, but then I'm going to show you the decorated version because it comes out so good. So nothing in here at the moment, pretty basic. I haven't got a fireplace in there, but by the magic of TV, watch this. And my idea for this was their little meeting hut, and hence why there's something above the door, just to signify that it's a little bit different to the other huts. So once Dougmate gets out of the way, which he has now, we'll just go in and have a look and see how this looks. And there we go. I'm sure there's lots of decisions and drinking and eating going on here. Put a couple of tables in, dressed them up. A lot of lights in here, candle light in here, just to build the atmosphere. I've taken one of the fires out of Cabin in the Woods and just put it under the boiling pot there. So there's lots of beer, drinking and singing and all kinds of stuff going on in here, but I wanted to get a certain look and a certain feel, and I putting the extra beams across the top there and pillars has just added to that. So I thought I'd just share that with you. We'll finish off the settlement now, so avert your eyes because we're going into bright light. So just finishing off, I just put a little pier here in a rowing boat, just to add a little bit more depth to the overall look of the settlement, and a little bit of a fisherman's hut with these boats ready to go, upside down. A little bit of a shack, and I love the way the shack came out. Very easy, simple idea. So I hope you've enjoyed this, guys. As ever, it's a pleasure making these for you. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, leave a like or comment, and we'll catch you later.